Let's get you started off on the week correctly. Congrats if you caught the low when we mentioned it on Friday. We said, hey, AI target is looking up on the 1 hour and the daily. We were looking at some upside targets starting with 674, 683, all the way to 691. And now we have a new dark pool, folks, at 712. What's going to be, causing that high? We don't know. But if you like the content, subscribe, like, comment below if you want one ticker. We have a link just for that. If you want to join our Discord, by all means, we welcome everybody. But we wanted to let you know that we had seen some upside targets. And when we go lower, no, the market could do whatever it wants. But on Friday, we said, hey, we have some triggers coming up to the upside. Some trend lines were holding. The AI was firing off. And we got upside dark pool. We could definitely go lower before we go higher. But let's take a look at those charts and get you set up for success this week.
We had mentioned on Friday that we had seen some buying. We had gotten some upside triggers on the 15-minute, the 1 hour, and the daily. So my thoughts were, okay, if it defends and it holds some sort of support, we could risk on. We held at 663. The upside target is actually 691, and we haven't hit it quite yet, but we have a new dark pool all the way at 712. It's not even on the screen. But this is starting to look, if you look at the pattern on the 15-minute, this is starting to look like an inverse head and shoulder. So does it mean that we come down? No. As of this morning, I was already shedding. Once we get to my first pivot, which was the 677 area that I had mentioned, and then the 681.87, which was the gap fill from, so we filled the gap from here, which I said it doesn't have to, but the November 3rd gap down, gap ups fill faster than gap downs. On the gap down, we have like 16 or 17 of them, and now we have a new gap up that we may or may not fill, right? So we have upside targets. So we go long, 10 SMA is the first target. We just roll stops. I said 670 was a point of interest. Obviously, we knew because of the dark pools that we were going to go higher. And lo and behold, the Senate, was going to make some sort of deal. Whether they make a deal or not, it doesn't matter to us. We play the dark pools and we pay our AI, the triggers. Now, on the 15-minute, the 15-minute is exhausted. It's actually shooting downside back to this 670 area, which is the gap fill. When does it hit? Who knows? The last time we filled gap downs, it took about 5 days. So maybe for NVIDIA next week, maybe some reports on Friday. Now that we're kind of reopening the government, these bearish reports may come in. But as of now, until that 712 dark pool comes in, any low time frame triggers down we're gonna be very cautious. So the 1 hour also triggered down to this the 665 area. So the 1 hour saying we're coming down to 665. The 15 minutes saying we're going to gap fill this. Who knows when it does it? But the daily is upside to 691, and then the dark pool of 712, right? So on the daily, we know we're coming up here. Now, when do we come up? I'm not sure. But as of this time of the recording, we had sellers coming in as soon as we had the gap fill. So we can come up to 684. I'll add a little bit more to my short to 684 as protection to the downside against the 1 hour AI saying, hey, we're coming down to 665. Maybe we'll hit 670 gap fill and the AI will switch. But I go with the AI because it has such high probability. So let's just say we gap fill. I'll close my protection. If we gap fill and then come back up, then I'll take it back to the 691 because again, the daily is saying 691 possibly into this week. So this week may be bullish because we were bearish for about 6 or 7 days. So when the market squeezes, it tends to come up higher than the downside of the squeeze. So make a newer high, 691. Trap everybody. Maybe come get more liquidity, but one level at a time. 691 is our upside for the daily. 670 and 665 are the downside on the 15-minute, but I don't like to challenge the daily. So what I do is as soon as I'm green, I let the stop loss take it. So if the gap fill comes in this week, whenever it does, on the longer, I'm staying heavy long. On the short time frame, I'll trade whatever the AI trigger is saying. So 670 holds, I'll close out all my puts on the near term side. And if 665 comes in, that's a gift. Only if the daily is still showing as an upside trigger. But if you like this, again, comment below. If not, join our Discord. We'd love to show you how we're winning, how we're making money, and how we're managing risk.